Hello, and you're all very welcome to the Unity Roadmap for Games in 2023. Today, you're going to get an overview of the new features and technology planned for the coming year. Before we get started, here's our safe harbor statement. I'll give you a second to read it. This is just a legal statement explaining that you should still do your homework when you choose your tech. Today, I'm excited to be joined by product managers from all across of Unity, covering lots of different product areas. They will each be walking you through their areas in detail. I'm Andrew, and I get to lead product management for our editor and engine. Here's our agenda for today. We'll start with a word about our vision and how you can shape our releases and how we release Unity. Then we'll dive into the roadmap itself, covering a selection of what's important across 8 big areas. So our goal and mission is quite simple. Unity enables you to create extraordinary games of all kinds and reach your players wherever they are. And that's made true every day by the wonderful games you all bring to life. And your feedback sets our priorities, be that feature requests, bug fixes, comments about what you like, and of course, what you don't like. And all of that puts you at the center of each release. So with that feedback, we're working towards delivering substantial improvements to the following broad areas. Empowering you, no matter your specialization, to build more immersive and beautiful experiences in Unity. Investing in your editor experience, providing you with better performance in the editor and at runtime on target platforms. And of course, quality first, making it as efficient as possible for you to create with Unity by shipping the production-ready features and improvements that matter most to you. So here are the product outcomes in our roadmap that we're going to cover today. And again, all of this is driven by the feedback that we receive from you. What I'm personally excited about is that we're focused both on what we hear loud and clear, which is you want a stable, robust core product. You want us to ship a set of unified scalable render pipelines, and of course, provide you with the tools and runtime to hit frame rate. But we're also fueling your ambition to do more, to build bigger games, more connected games, to reach new platforms, and of course, to leverage the cloud to enable you to work with friends and colleagues in new ways. So what does it look like on the ground? Well, we have 2 different release versions, the LTS, our long-term supported version, and the tech stream. And of course, you choose which release makes sense for you based on your project needs. Our LTS versions come with 2 years of support and represent the most stable of the last 12 months of development. Our tech streams are released twice a year, giving you access to in-progress features where we really need your feedback. And this means you can get a head start, of course, on the new capabilities for your games. And the tech streams is fully supported until the next major release. So let's jump in and start with the first of these focus areas, our stable core. So what is stable core? These are the foundational components of the editor and engine, the subsystems which are used by all of you. And with that, I'd like to start with our content pipeline, which covers the end-to-end journey that your asset takes from import through to runtime loading. Okay, shader variants. We recognize, and we've heard you loud and clear, this is a major productivity issue for you. So to reduce shader variant compilation time, our first step is shader variant pre-filtering. Variant pre-filtering will land in 23.1 with backports to 22 and 21. Overall, we're seeing significantly reduced shader processing and build times, up to around 90% in some of our sample game projects. And to help you improve iteration times further, we have a few more features to highlight. Something I'm excited about is prefab replacement, which allows you to select any prefab instance in the scene and easily replace it with a different prefab. And then you can choose whether to keep or discard any prefab overrides. Next, the addressable team will soon launch a new build layout report visualizer. And with that, you'll be able to inspect your build at the asset bundle, and addressables groups levels. This really allows you to understand and evaluate the connections between these concepts and really ultimately help you optimize your builds for download size and runtime performance. Unity 23.1 will provide some experimental features to the asset bundle build pipeline. And these will allow you to, the build pipeline to take advantage of new multi-process asset import functionality, which really speeds up your overall content build times. Something else, we're also focused on the integration of universal scene description, or USD, into Unity. So we see USD as playing a big role in the content pipelines of the future. The technology offers the opportunity to bring you a tighter, more artist-friendly pipeline and opens a door to more collaborative Unity authoring workflows. We'll have much more to say on this initiative in the near future, so stay tuned. And finally, of course, we have some under the hood improvements to share with you. In Unity 23.1, you'll be able to take advantage of content files and content archives in your ECS projects. So this file architecture allows for blazing fast streaming of assets in and out of memory in large-scale projects especially. And you can see the amazing results of this in our megacity sample. And for those using SpeedTree, we've made improvements to SpeedTree asset imports, giving users more direct control over LOD generation. So moving on, next to the package manager. And as a modular system, the package manager really powers your choice in how you use the Unity editor. And our focus this year is on better extensibility for more advanced users and teams, as well as increased transparency. Highlights include more control over cache location and allowing multi-select actions to manage packages in bulk. And also, we're working on package signing to ensure you're aware when packages have been modified from their original state for really greater visibility on decisions around when to add new packages. For input, we've heard that while our current input system is robust, it's also complex to use, especially for those new to it. We want to focus on providing a simpler way of working with the new input system for all of you. The high-level API will give you a quick and easy way to create input systems, and global actions will be a central location for you to set up input mappings. Overall, we just want to reduce the number of steps required to set up from the current method by a lot. Okay, so another key building block behind Unity is our use of .NET. And we're really investing heavily in modernizing our use of .NET over the next couple of years. So let's start with async and await. Unity has been provided multiple categories of async APIs, things like iterator-based coroutines or async operations and so on. In addition to that, third parties also come with their own async APIs. And all of those different async APIs have a very different interaction model. They're complicated to mix and match. And we want to fix that by providing a modern and familiar way to interact with Unity's asynchronous constructs with async methods and support for the await keyword, and allow you to mix and match any kind of asynchronous operation and construct, both from Unity and third parties, in the same async method. All of this without sacrificing performance, and all coming in 23.1. For Burst, we have 3 big quality of life improvements to share. First, for iteration times, we spent time improving the compilation experience with a new incremental mode, and you'll really feel that in the editor when you're generating player builds. We've also made improvements to the debugging experience. So starting actually in 22.2, you'll be able to debug bursted code with managed debuggers without any extra steps, and also benefit from really improved runtime diagnostics. So things like call stacks, where you have an exception and clickable source locations in call stacks. Finally, with the inspector in Burst 1.8, you can now select and copy an assembly code and search assembly code with Control F. Really great stuff. For .NET modernization as a whole, we're really focusing on some big initiatives that will allow us to adopt .NET technologies when they're released. So this improves support for core CLR, and also enabling the latest .NET APIs, and of course, migrating our compilation pipeline to MS Build with support for NuGet packages. It's a big multi-year initiative that will really make the Unity development workflow more compatible with the overall .NET ecosystem. Tons of performance, lots of really great debugging capabilities, and overall, lots of long-term stability. Okay, for UI Toolkit, our goal here is to provide a single solution for producing user interfaces, one that really meets the needs of all developers and designers working on editor tools and runtime interactive experiences. This year, we're focused on providing more UI widgets and custom shapes for editor extensions. We're adding the tree view, as well as new capabilities to existing controls. This includes new vector drawing APIs to customize the UI element experience, as well as progressively making property attributes available. And further out, UI Toolkit will move to be our recommended solution for making editor extensions over IAMGUI, ensuring default inspectors are rendered along with support for data binding to accelerate the development of user interfaces. Ultimately, this change empowers UI designers to test their own GUIs, taking a bit of pressure off the programming team. And for those of you using UI Toolkit for producing game UI, we've released a complete sample project, which is available now, and it shows you how to create production-ready user interfaces for your game. Let's take a quick peek at that now. Thank you. Now I'd like to hand over to Marika to talk about profiling and performance optimization.
Thanks, Andrew. Next up, we'll move from building a great looking game to making sure it works and performs as expected when players access it. At Unity, we offer a wide range of tools to help you understand and dig into your project's performance. We believe that by offering accurate, relevant, and effective tools, we can empower you to optimize your project. Our goal is to make it easier for you to start your profiling journey, for example, identifying bottlenecks. We want to quickly direct you to the areas of optimizations that will yield the greatest performance gains so that you can spend more time creating your projects. Recently, the Memory Profiler package launched as a verified package for Unity 2022.2 beta. This is a dedicated tool for memory analysis to ensure you get insight into memory usage of your projects so that you can focus on making the right optimizations. Here is a quick shot of what it looks like. Once you capture or import a memory snapshot, you'll see a summary overview. You can see how memory is used, identify focus areas and its biggest offenders. By clicking into specific areas, you can get information on individual categories on the right pane. One of my favorites is the Unity Objects tab, where you can view all the Unity objects grouped by type. On the References section, you can see what is holding them in memory, as well as their status and metadata. Clicking on this button will flatten the hierarchy so you can see the biggest offenders. You can click on this button to filter for potential duplicates to inspect redundant items in the memory. In the All of Memory tab, you can see what else is in memory. Lastly, the compare functionality between snapshots will show you how memory usage of your project has changed. For example, this table will show you how categories have changed in size. You can also see differences in the amount of items. Lastly, you can inspect individual items in this separate table. Performance of the Unity editor in runtime is another focus area for us. We want to help you build polished projects which run efficiently on your target platforms, fast and seamlessly. In the 2022 release, we focused on improving the editor workflow performance with faster save times for large scenes, optimization of the animation rigging package, reduced stall time in scene picking, just to mention a few. For the 2023.1 release, we are continuing to work on optimizations to help you stay in the flow when using the Unity editor. If you want to learn more about our tools and work on performance, check out blog.unity.com. It will provide links to great resources the teams have prepared for you. Now, I'd like to pass the mic to Ali, who will be talking about the rendering roadmap.
Thank you, Marika. Let's take a look at our upcoming improvements to rendering and visual effects. In 2022, we have focused on further improvements to Universal Render Pipeline, or URP, and the High Definition Render Pipeline, or HDRP. We will dig into both of these pipelines and what we are working on in greater details in a moment. But it's worth noting that both of these pipelines are scriptable render pipelines, so they're extremely flexible. And we're constantly adding new features and functionalities to bring them up to the level of built-in render pipeline and beyond. So you all have the tools and the features you're used to inside a pipeline made to help you bring your vision anywhere. We want to enable you to create stunning visuals regardless of art style or hardware. And that's true flexibility. But first things first, let's have a look at improvement highlights for cross-pipeline functionalities and workflows. A concept similar to prefabs, material variants can improve collaboration, facilitate the reusability of materials, and enhance asset libraries and smooth updates, and reduce risk of error. With material variants available in 22.1, you can create material prefabs based on regular materials, which result in variants that share common properties with the template material and override only properties that differ. Changing non-overridden properties in the template material are automatically reflected in the variants. You can also lock specific properties in the base material to prevent them from being overridden in the variants. Shader Graph lets you visually author shaders and inspect the results in real time. We are introducing a new full screen master node for Shader Graph in 22.2. Full screen master node can be used to create custom post-processing effects or custom passes, such as night vision effect and geometry outlines. It can also be used to generate custom render textures in a procedural manner. Similarly, Shader Graph can now be used to create procedural local volumetric fork for HDRP. The node-based effects in VFX Graph empower you to create rich VFX in real time in a codeless fashion. We have made further improvements to VFX Graph in 22. With instancing, you can render more variants of the same effect more efficiently. Boolean ports give you more control over effects configuration, adding the possibility to dynamically disable parts of the graph when you need to. Six-way lighting allows you to use the same flipbook to generate variations of the same effect that will adapt to various lighting conditions. And with new VFX Graph timeline integration, you can intuitively control and synchronize the different systems of complex effects or cinematics. In 23, we are working towards providing custom HLSL blocks for deeper customization of VFX. Adaptive Pro Volume, or APV, is a new lighting technique that makes it much simpler to light dynamic objects indirectly. APV provides full automated placement of probes and therefore significantly reduces iteration times as compared to the traditional light probes workflow in Unity. It also offers improved visual quality for indirect lighting of dynamic objects. With APV, the lighting is calculated per pixel rather than per object. In 22, we have continued our refinement of APV, available for preview in HDRP. And for 23 releases, we will extend the support to the universal render pipeline. We are also making further functionality and quality improvements, such as prevention of light leaks for static objects, the ability to blend between lighting scenarios, streaming of light probes data for large scenes, and fast previews of baked global illumination in the editor. The next step towards fully scalable rendering with SRPs is to facilitate the use of both HDRP and URP for a single game. Such a game requires both the quality that HDRP offers and the broad platform support of URP. We are working on two components to reach our goals. First, we are modifying the editor so you will be able to include URP and HDRP in the same project. Second, we are increasing the compatibility between URP and HDRP, so less work is required to reauthor content to render a scene with different render pipelines. We have already started to bring more feature parity and compatibility between the pipelines in the past 2 years. SRP lens flare, train details, and trees are some of the examples. In 23, we are also working to provide a replacement for surface shaders in SRPs. Block shaders provide a new intuitive syntax and enables a unified shader authoring workflow across the rendering pipelines. Onto universal render pipeline. URP is designed to offer scalable quality with the best performance on the broadest range of platforms. URP is the successor to our built-in render pipeline, and we are working to ensure it will provide all the functionality you are familiar with with better performance, greater customizability, and more productive workflows. With the 22.2 release, URP provides the majority of the functionality offered by the built-in render pipeline, and in certain areas exceeds its quality and performance. We have added the forward rendering path, which offers the advantages of URP forward while eliminating the light limit count. And with LOD crossfade, you can avoid the harsh snapping and popping that occurs during LOD swaps. We have also added the support for rendering and decal layers, so you can filter and configure how different objects get rendered and are affected by various rendering options in a scene. And last but not least, we are providing a more intuitive workflow for custom post-processing and screen space effects. Our goals for URP in 23 releases are to finalize the remaining items for functional parity with built-in, provide better documentation and guidelines, polish the workflows, and performance based on your feedback. Temporal anti-aliasing and high dynamic range display output are some of the feature highlights coming in 23. On HDRP, we are focused on polishing production readiness so you can confidently start your next project with the best visual fidelity possible out of the box. Our primary focus is always quality, performance, and customizability. On the feature side, we are mainly investing in two areas: high fidelity environments and characters. Talking about production readiness, let's have a look at ray tracing improvements. Ray tracing is utilized in HDRP to deliver cutting-edge, realistic shading and visual effects. To get better and faster results with Path Tracer, in 22.2, we have added NVIDIA Optics AI Accelerated Denoiser, Intel Open Image Denoise, and important sampling of the environment lighting. We have also focused on performance and stability of ray tracing, API, and the effects. And we are excited to announce that we will be removing the preview label for ray tracing in 23.1, along with VFX graph and train height map support. In 22.2, we are improving our physical sky, cloud layers, volumetric clouds, allowing better support for the time of the day and changes in weather conditions. We are also introducing a water system with wave simulation and sampling, cosmetics, underwater rendering, and decal support. And finally, in 22.2 and 23.1, we are improving transparency and translucency rendering with easier management of diffusion profiles, possibility to mask diffusion, and better diffractions. We are introducing a new approach to hair rendering and simulation, pushing the limits of what has been possible before in Unity. Real-time hair simulation developed by our demo team is available as an experimental package in 20 LTS and above. In 22.2, HDRP hair shader now comes with a physical-based option. The eye shader offers a high fidelity option seen in the enemies demo to render cosmetics. And better characters fidelity also relies on the quality of the shadows, and we are providing a high quality option for area light shadows. In 23, we are working on a dedicated hair rasterizer to improve lighting and anti-aliasing, as well as capsule shadows for better character shadows in large environments. Now I would like to pass to Danny to take you through the upcoming highlights and improvements for our Artistry tools. Thank you.
Thanks, Ali. I'm Danny Oakes. I'm a Senior Technical Product Manager for Unity's Artistry tools, and I'm excited to take a look with you at some of the upcoming tools we have for characters and vegetation coming in 2023. As many of you know, Ziva Dynamics joined the Unity family this year. We've been working hard on workflows to bring this technology to real time in 2023, and you'll now be able to amplify your game quality with high fidelity facial animation using Ziva's real-time technology. Ziva for visual effects is well known in the film industry and AAA. However, next year, we will bring Ziva technology to real time. Ziva Face Trainer will give you the ability to animate facial puppets using video capture from your mobile device, lowering the barrier to immersive character creation. We will also be launching Ziva RT Player, free for Unity users in 2023. This will enable Face Trainer animations to seamlessly and automatically work in Unity. WEDEC technology will also power more features for our character pipeline coming next year. SpeedTree has been an integral part of Unity since 2015, allowing users to utilize AAA vegetation pipelines and projects ranging from mobile games to cutting-edge console releases, stylized fantasy worlds, or photoreal immersive scenes. With SpeedTree engineers working side by side with the core Unity team, we're working day in and day out on improving our integration while laying a foundation for the future. This work to solve technical debt will be ongoing and backported to previous releases to ensure that it will be available to all users in 2023, LTS and TechStream, HDRP, and URP. And this is just the start. We're collaborating with Wedded Digital artists and engineers to democratize cutting-edge vegetation workflows for all creators. Wedded Digital's unique approach to world building and creativity sets them apart in the VFX industry. And by working with these wizards who are building otherworldly playgrounds for blockbuster releases, we can begin to find ways to bring that magic into SpeedTree, including tree grooming tools, more intuitive mesh crawling for vines, new approaches to instancing and generating trees inside of the editor. On top of that, we'll be ending this year with a new release of the SpeedTree modeler, bringing seamless integration of sculpted or photogrammetry mesh details to trunk surfaces. New wind and improved workflows are coming to Unity, and hundreds of SpeedTree models are coming to our store with photometry and photogrammetry assets included. This is why we're excited to have SpeedTree working as part of Unity on new Artistry tools, and we can't wait to share what's coming in 2023. And now I'll pass it to Laurent to talk more about multiplayer and dots.
Thank you, Danny. Hi, I'm Laurent. I'm leading the product management for multiplayer and dots. Doing connectivity well means staying focused on your player's experience rather than getting mild and low-level networking libraries. And that's where our Netcode for GameObject package comes in. Netcode for GameObject is a mid-level networking library that abstracts networking in an effort to make multiplayer development as easy and familiar as single-player development. Netcode for GameObject enables creators to synchronize scenes, GameObject, and physics data across multiple application instances, and even across platforms, all while using the same GameObject and model behavior systems you know today. We made it available to you this year for Unity 2020 LTS, 2021 LTS, and 2022 TechStream. As we continue to work on Netcode for GameObjects, we plan to extend the types of multiplayer games you can build, like competitive action games, and invest in even better backend simulation efficiency. This will allow you to properly pressure test your netcode performance before you publish. Let's take a look at what we have today and what we're working on next. These are our core offers in the Netcode for GameObject framework today. Runtime Network Stats Monitor and Network Profiler are two similar and fundamental tools to tracking the live performance metrics of your multiplayer project. The Network Profiler provides network information in the editor only. The Runtime Monitor gives you a high-level look at network stats in standalone builds, meaning you can track network performance during live playtests. We also launched UTP 1.0, which provides closed platform support for your multiplayer scenarios. Alongside the network tools we just covered, we've recently launched, as part of our Unity gaming services, a variety of multiplayer services to deploy, host, and run games at any scale. Relay is a cost-effective way to build a multiplayer game without having to invest in dedicated hosting. Relay is particularly great when used hand-in-hand with Netcode for GameObject for small-scale and co-op games. Lobby allows you to connect your players before or during a game session. Players can create public or private lobbies using simple game attributes, which other players can then search, discover, and join. Rule Matchmaker allows you to set up completely custom rule sets, either with code or with a guided interface. Match players at the right time to best drive great player experience and engagement. Works right out of the box with our game server hosting multiplayer. And finally, game server hosting helps you deliver resilience and the ability to scale your gaming infrastructure so you can focus on gameplay, accelerating speed to market, and providing the best experience to your players. All those services and much more are available as part of Unity gaming services to help you build and grow live games. With that good Netcode foundation in mind, let's now dive into the multiplayer workflows, which is a big focus of ours moving forward. Here is a preview of a few of those in the work. Multiplayer play mode is a much needed development feature that will enable you to test up to 4 players or clients at once within the same editor session. Network simulation, which gives you our developers more control over your network's condition, meaning latency, like spikes and disconnection, should all be simulated within the editor. We want you to build confidence in what you ship to customers and hardening your project against players' connection types. This is important. UTP 2.0 is in the work to include WebGL support and integration with our game services. Server content selection, which should give you more control over what kind of dedicated server you're building by specifying what asset should stay in that server built and which shouldn't. Now, before I go into what we're thinking about for the longer term, I want to show you a quick video of multiplayer play mode, since we're very impatient to bring its value to you. This prototype is integrated directly into the Unity editor and is actually not tied to any specific networking stack. It's introduced with a new settings window that's called multiplayer play mode, where you can enable up to 4 other players that all pop up upon entering play mode. As you're seeing right now, play mode is active and the player windows are showing client information. You can interact with these windows at runtime the same way you would with the main editor, except that all information in those windows are read-only. However, any messages or error specifics to those clients will show up in those windows individually, and you can even specify certain behaviors for certain players through a tagging system. Before I wrap up, I want to get you a sneak peek of a few things we're investigating for the future, like network scene visualization, which is us taking a look at how we can utilize the scene view to give you real-time information about specific network objects, like the bandwidth they're consuming, object ownership, or packet sizes. Network record and playback is an effort to better understand how we can help you get more of our playtests. We're looking into how to record your network state throughout the session and give you that information back exactly as it was captured. Web transport, we're also looking at ways for you to build multiplayer games right from the browser. And persistent worlds, we're actively building a persistent world service, enabling you to build experiences at any scale with persistency in a virtual space. I hope you're excited to make some great multiplayer experiences in Unity. Now, let's talk about your needs to scale up your projects. When it comes to building ambitious games, you will often need additional room for performance and manage an increasing amount of complexity to reach your vision. At the foundation level, this starts with allowing engine programmers to take full control of the memory layout and the frame processing. This is why we had started initially the data-oriented technology stack, or DOTS for short. First, some general explanation about DOTS. DOTS includes all the packages based on the Entity Component System, ECS, architecture. The notion of DOTS is often extended to include the burst compiler and the C# job system, 2 technologies that have been created to support the development of ECS, but are independent of it. The burst compiler and the C# job system have been recommended for production for a few LTS cycles already, and can be used in any Unity project, regardless of whether or not ECS is being used. The APIs allowing to implement the ECS software architecture pattern in a Unity project are delivered in the package named entities. To obtain the benefits of data-oriented architecture, game code and packages need to be based on entities. And it is still today in an experimental state and not recommended for use in production. Now, we've heard from many of you that your ambitions require that level of control in Unity today. And this is why our focus this year was to reach a stable ECS foundation you can safely use in production. And to do so, we've been executing on a quality milestone plan. We started by releasing experimental entities 050 in Q1 to reach compatibility with Unity 2020 LTS, then experimental entity 051 in Q2 to reach compatibility with Unity 2021 LTS. In September, we made available an experimental version of entities 1.0 for Unity 2022 beta users to get a final round of feedback ahead of the final release of ECS for Unity 2022. This will be making a major milestone when you can start leveraging ECS for your game production. To help you understand when to consider this new framework for your game, we collected a large amount of feedback from early adopters, and here is what they had to say about ECS. ECS for Unity opens up an incredible amount of new gameplay possibilities, but also introduces additional complexity to your production. So while we're making a dedicated effort to bring you strong samples, documentation, templates, and other best practices guides, we recommend ECS specifically to seasoned game creators who have the experience of having previously shipped a Unity title and understand the architectural challenges they're trying to overcome. In simple words, if you see a number of games that previously shipped with Unity that match the targeted complexity of your project, you likely don't need to consider ECS just yet. It is also recommended to have engine programming expertise on staff to successfully leverage the data-oriented benefits. This said, ECS has been proven very useful for dozens of games across many genres already, such as MMO, fast-paced, multiplayer racing game, survival, simulation, city building, and games that shipped on many platforms over the last few years on VR headsets, PC, consoles, mobile devices. So here's what those early adopters liked the most about it. First, ECS is streamlined with the rest of the Unity editor. It is integrated in a familiar authoring experience and is intended to be used with GameObject. This allows you to leverage existing Unity systems, existing team expertise, all the asset store, and focus the use of ECS for the critical performance path. ECS is adaptive as a game architecture. It is an implementation that helps you to make your game code flexible and allow you to adapt to gameplay changes more easily. It also makes it easier to write highly optimized code and reusable code. ECS gives you control and determinism. This creates optimization opportunities at scale and new game code possibilities based on determinism. ECS for Unity is also a C# package distributed with its source code, allowing you to explore, debug, and extend it. When you use gameplay code on ECS, you can best leverage the hardware resources. Your development teams can maximize the use of the target platform hardware resources at the memory and CPU level, and maximize the use of burst and job. ECS is also made for massive data streaming. It offers an efficient data pipeline that enables streaming and rendering of complex, large-scale game experiences, fitting the memory and processing constraint of low-end to high-end devices. You can leverage ECS performance and scalability boost in coordination with Unity's content pipeline data and render it using URP, HDRP, or SRPs. ECS also gives you an unprecedented level of simulation scale. Simulation code based on ECS architecture pattern can scale up to a large amount of entities and ensure determinism. ECS for Unity provides a robust out-of-the-box ECS-compatible physics engine. And for complex production needed AAA production-proven physics engine, ECS for Unity provides the availability of Havoc physics for Unity. And finally, ECS also helps you make larger multiplayer games. It provides many benefits, allowing you to turn any project into an ambitious multiplayer games. When using ECS over a GameObject, you can synchronize more data over the network, support more players, build games highly reliant on rollback and determinism, reduce development risk, and decrease iteration time. ECS for Unity comes with a several authoritative netcode library. The most important area of improvement that our early adopters suggested during the experimental phase was to improve documentation, best practices, and samples. Because data-oriented design presents a significant learning curve. So we doubled down on onboarding content for ECS in Unity 2022. First, we're bringing back Megacity. Megacity has been a source of inspiration for many of our early adopters and has represented the ambition of achieving large-scale streaming. Refreshed with the latest system, users can dive right into the implementation and observe how subscene authoring workflows scale to thousands of entities. Second, we're introducing ECS Racing, a sample illustrating various multiplayer features leveraging netcode for entities, including network prediction, interpolation, and lag composition. So you can build ambitious multiplayer titles in no time. And finally, we'll be providing a series of self-guided tutorials, videos, and cookbooks so you can apply best practices in ECS from day one and embark on your ECS journey with a much smoother learning curve. ECS for Unity is a big milestone, and this is only the beginning of our journey. Over the next year, we'll keep a close eye on all the new game production you start with data-oriented technologies and want to leverage your feedback to quickly improve the overall workflow. We've already identified a series of improvements that would streamline even better the editor experience, but in particular, we've heard a lot of you will benefit from a good character controller to get started. This is why we acquired the powerful ECS-based character controller Rival, which had been built for extensibility and performance with networking in mind. We're working at packaging it for a simple distribution, so stay tuned for more announcements. You also told us that we have gaps in our foundation to support certain types of multiplayer games. In particular, determinism across CPU architecture to simplify cross-play development, or simply support the needs for determinism in your multiplayer game code. We're investigating our options in that area. And finally, we also know that we have a few gaps to support all kinds of open world games generated out of the box. Some of those improvements are in the areas of streaming or better managing LODs, but a lot of it is about the ability to scale content. We are at work in this area on two main fronts. The first one is the work we have started on our animation systems that leverages data-oriented technologies. We're making steady progress and already play with internal prototypes and workflows. While ECS offers a very powerful foundation to build larger game, we believe our ongoing animation work should be accessible to GameObject gameplay to accommodate whichever workflows you're the most comfortable with. We'll make the best effort to deliver the data-oriented benefits to you whenever possible. In the meantime, we keep a strong focus on mechanism stability and performance and backporting fixes where possible. We have addressed already 100 issues in the current cycle. The second area where we work at scaling up is our ability to produce content for world building. We're launching a new spline offering workflows in Unity 2022 tech stream that will enable developers and technical artists to create tools for drawing geometry, like rivers or roads with custom components. We will continue to evolve splines with improvement to artist workflow for spline objects, like branching, merging, extruding, and more. We also work on better artist controls for environment workflows, including overlays for terrain, scattering improvements, and managing terrain detail density. Here is a sneak peek at how those tools work in the editor. And when we will pull all this tech together, the results will be truly breathtaking. Like this immersive landscape built with the latest terrain authoring workflows, including surface sculpting, speech integration, HDRP shaders, and fantastic lighting. We also have a UIP equivalent sim. And now let's hear about platform reach with Martin Best.
Thanks, Laurent. My name is Martin Best, and I'm going to cover what we're working on to improve platform support. So when we do this, our main goal is to help you reach your players wherever they are. And so the foundation of this is making sure that you can ship across all major platforms, knowing that the performance and stability will be there. And we want to help you reduce the costs, especially when supporting many platforms, as much as we can. So on that note, let's check out what's coming. Starting with mobile. Mobile is, of course, core to who Unity is. And we're always looking for ways to improve the support across both Android and iOS. And one area we hear a lot about from you is that we need to reduce iteration time, especially when testing games on mobile devices. So we now have support for fast deploy on Android. What this feature does is it allows Unity to only update what has changed on the device since the last build. And this will save you time when testing and iterating on device. Another feature that will help here is the new Android Configuration Manager that will allow you to manage and edit your configuration files directly inside the Unity editor, making it more convenient and reducing the time it takes to deploy. Coming soon, we will have support for the Game Activity API from the Android Development Kit. This includes source code access to input, on-screen keyboard, and app life cycle events. We also include the ability to update parts of the Android Development Kit through the Gradle project. And finally, iOS and Android will get a variety of toolchain version upgrades that ensure you're up to date with the latest requirements on both platforms. I'm very happy to report that at long last, the DirectX 12 backend is out of preview in 22.2, and this is due to a massive performance and stability improvements. And you can now target reliably DirectX 12 for both the editor and runtime. If you choose to utilize DirectX, you should expect equal and better performance when switching from DirectX 11, especially in CPU-bound applications. In 23, we plan to release the new graphics job threading mode that further improves CPU performance and will increase the gap between DirectX 11 and DirectX 12 in the majority of scenarios. Earlier, we talked about ray tracing in the presentation, and I'm going to build on that and provide some additional insight into the platform support that will go along with that. So in 22, we're introducing ray tracing support for Xbox Series consoles. And that means that in 23, when we take it out of preview, we'll have support for Windows DXR, Xbox Series consoles, and PlayStation 5. We also know that faster iteration time on console platforms is important to you. So we have full support for incremental build pipeline for all supported console platforms coming this year. Additionally, Unity will now support build and run on Chrome OS, allowing you to quickly deploy your projects over Wi-Fi to your target device. And lastly, native ARM64 support for the Windows standalone player is coming and will be included in 23.1. So let's talk about the web. So for many years, our support for the web has been desktop only. But we've been investing to change that as browsers and mobile devices are becoming more capable. We're getting closer to full support for web builds on mobile devices. And we've added touchscreen controls, virtual keyboard, and support for mobile texture formats. We've also started to see that folks are finding success with the work we've done so far. So as a result, we have now removed the warning label on Unity WebGL content that used to appear when it ran on mobile devices. In 22.2, we are also adding more tools to help you manage memory, including a diagnostic overlay that you can see in the screenshot on the left that will work on both desktop and mobile browsers and let you analyze memory as the application runs in the browser. We've also upgraded the mscripten toolchain, which is a prerequisite for the next item, native multi-threading. This means that C++ code can be multi-threaded on the web, and you can now write your native C++ plugins to take advantage of this. Well, we have made huge amounts of progress in our effort to support the mobile web. We're not done yet, and you can expect us to heavily focus on further optimizations in the coming year. Jumping to XR. There are two big highlights for this year, which are XR Interaction Toolkit 2.2 and AR Foundation 5.0. Unity's XR Interaction Toolkit, or XRI for short, which includes a collection of core interactions designed for cross-device development. Version 2.2 is now available and includes multi-hand grabbing, more options for player locomotion, UI GUI interactions for menus, and gestures for touchscreen. This is a very handy tool set and will save you a ton of time. AR Foundation 5.0 includes a new simulation feature that is designed to allow you to run your AR apps in play mode by simulating an AR device. So you no longer have to rebuild your app to test changes. We're also adding new debugging features that should make it easier for you to hunt down problems quickly. We have heard that setting up a project can be hard, so we will be investing in new XR templates and examples next year that will help speed up the process of setting up a new project, as well as make it easier for those of you who are just getting started. XR is, of course, a very innovative space at the moment, and new devices are constantly coming to market. To make sure that you can reach the widest possible audience, we are adding support for Magic Leap 2, PlayStation VR 2, and Quest Pro, which will be available in 22.2. In addition to that, for those of you that are using the 21 LTS for your productions, you can leverage full support for Quest Pro, including eye-tracked foveated rendering in the 21 LTS. One last thing before I close out this section, we are also working on cross-platform solution for hand and eye input, built on top of open XR standards. Let me hand it over to Maria, who will walk us through empowering teams.
Thank you, Martin. Hi, everyone. My name is Marie, and I'm the lead product manager for Unity Version Control. Our Unity DevOps team strives to help you improve efficiency and collaboration so that you can focus on what matters more, creating. We're excited to share with you what's coming to both Cloud Build and Plastic SCM in 2023. Cloud Build is a managed service that lets you automate your build workflows in the cloud. You can point Cloud Build to source files in your existing version control system, such as Plastic SCM, and start building by either triggering build manually or using continuous integration to run a build when there's a change to your project. We are always looking to improve the reliability of our service to boost productivity. We will launch build failure categorization soon to help you identify why a build failed and accurately diagnose failures. The goal is to indicate which category the failure falls under while providing descriptions and suggestions to address these issues promptly. In addition, all build configurations will be immutable so that you can explicitly select all the build parameters, have complete control over the build workflow. Our next focus is to speed up build time. Soon, you will have access to premium build machines with increased computing power and memory so that you can run builds much faster. I'm very happy to announce that this will be complemented with incremental builds so that we build what's marginally different from your most recent build instead of the entire project. And finally, our initiatives to optimize your experience using Cloud Build will continue next year with features such as batch build target editing and build history grouping and filtering. Now let's take a look at what we have in store for Plastic SCM. Plastic is Unity's version control solution made for programmers, artists, and designers. We strive to provide you with a version control experience where all team members feel comfortable by bridging the gap between the unique needs of code development and creative workflows. In addition to planned quality of life improvements to your day-to-day workflows based on your feedback, our focus is currently in 4 main areas. If you are a Cloud Edition user, you will be able to increase your productivity by eliminating redundant tasks in the merging process with Cloud Merge Bots. Merge Bots are currently offered as an on-prem feature, and we are excited to make it available soon to our cloud users as well. Our next focus will be on 3D previews, which are a stepping stone towards a series of visual workflows we want to enable in our version control offering in the web. And now, we hear you loud and clear. We understand how important it is to you to have a great version of control experience on the web, including a rich code review experience. This is why we are investing heavily in our new Plastic SCM web experience in the Unity dashboard. The new web experience allows you to bring team members on board, manage user permissions, browse files and repositories, and navigate changes directly in Unity dashboard. You can also add Markdown files and embed images and GIFs. You can discuss and validate the work submitted by a team member with the intent to merge directly in Unity dashboard through our new code review experience. You can add multiple reviewers when requesting a review. The reviewers will be able to see exactly what changes were made, when they were done, and by whom, with the annotate and blame feature. We are also bringing you the ability to sort changes by a date range, actions, colors, and labels. And with a simple click, you can access more details and div the code. We're incredibly excited to bring you this new experience in beta to the Unity dashboard. And now I will pass it back to Andrew.
So that's a wrap. Thank you to all our presenters. And as you can see, we're working on all kinds of really exciting features and tools that pretty much touch on every aspect of your work with Unity. But all of this comes from you, and your feedback really does drive how we develop Unity to support your projects. You can do that on the forums, our Discord, Reddit, and look out for the opportunity to engage with us over the coming months. And last but not least, please take a close look out for the tech stream 22.2, which is coming soon. Thank you.